Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I realized I didn't talk to you guys about the latest Giannis trade rumors. Essentially what I'm hearing is that Golden State has a very compelling offer to provide information that I just gathered gives me a different perspective on the prospects of him potentially going there. So that's something I wanted to say. Golden State is one of the few teams in the league that has control over all of its assets. Players and picks can all go out at once. Most of these teams, including the Lakers, gotta wait till the summertime to be able to have access to their greatest offer. That is not the case for the Golden State Warriors. From what I understand, they have I think 3 tradable picks with the potential to get a 4th from the Sacramento Kings. If they funnel him, Kuminga specifically, to Sacramento, they may be able to get a 1st. I don't know how realistic that actually is, but it's just what's being said. And then they can throw in the matching salary of Jimmy Butler, Podziemski, and maybe something else. I don't know, maybe the other rookie that they got, Richards possibly. And that might be able to get it done. So that's a compelling offer in comparison to what a lot of the other teams that may be willing to do so could be willing to do. Jason Timpf made a great point this morning on one of his segments. He was essentially saying because of Giannis's recent injury history, some of the other teams that may have to kind of trade a good portion of their future in order to get Giannis may be shying away from it because of that. So that's an interesting nugget as well that I thought was to be taken seriously in regards to the atmosphere that this is ultimately in regards to the trade of Giannis Antetokounmpo potentially. So yeah, man, maybe there are some teams that maybe you thought would be willing to do it and may not see it as a worthwhile risk because of the injury history and stuff, which I guess should have been taken into account anyway if he wasn't currently injured. But that he is currently injured makes it even more pronounced of a risk. I say the man missing half of the damn playoff games that his team's been a part of for the last 3 years is a big enough risk for me. But what do you know, right? Well, what can you say? So Golden State may be able to make a compelling offer without throwing in Draymond, without throwing in Steph, obviously. They may have the package that can be competitive. And there may be a few teams that can beat that package, but those teams may not see it as worthy of a risk for themselves. Another thing that I think is interesting is from what I understand, Giannis has his eyes potentially set on Minnesota as one of the options that he would like to go to take seriously. Minnesota may not necessarily have the package. I don't know what their pick situation is. I know they mortgaged a great deal of them to Utah for Rudy Gobert, but they may be a team that he wants to go to. I think he wants to play with Anthony Edwards, which I love the idea of. I love the idea of that. I think that could be really fun. I just don't know that Minnesota can pull it off without him forcing his way to Minnesota. So that's the only thing about that. I'm not sure he can actually get there, but that is a decent entry, and it's an interesting choice. Especially given what's going on in Minnesota in the country right now. If they were able to get Giannis and win a championship, boy, would that change things up there for their morale as a state. So I just think that's kind of cool to have them on the list, because I don't think too many people would even consider that place. But Anthony Edwards does make for a fantastic running mate over the next several years, and somebody who can help Giannis age gracefully rather than have to do so much heavy lifting like he's likely going to have to do in Golden State. Because Steph Curry, how much longer is Steph going to play? He's going to be 38 this year. Do you really want, it's going to be a honeymoon phase right now, but with his injury history coupled with Steph's age and Draymond Green's just limitations, they're going to be asking Giannis to do a lot in Golden State, just like he's being asked to do a lot in Milwaukee. I don't know it's going to be as much to do in Minnesota in theory, because Anthony Edwards is only, 24 years old? So if he's thinking like I'm thinking, Golden State is only going to be a nice place to be for the next 2 years at the most. After that, it's going to be about him dragging whatever they have. And to be honest with you, I don't know what they're going to get. Maybe that becomes a more attractive free agency destination. Once Giannis is there, I would imagine it is. So maybe you have to change your way of looking at what could potentially be coming with him later on. But overall, it's got a short shelf life as it pertains to the Steph Curry vision. So for me, how long do you think Steph gonna play? Like, how long is he supposed to do this? And so I just think that he's supposed to be taking over at 31 years of age. In theory, he's supposed to come in as a means of making them a win now team. But then at like 33 years of age, 34 years of age, they're going to be looking at him as a means of resetting their situation. They're going to trade him somewhere, or they're going to ask him to drag trash. And so I don't think he should resign there if he does go there. Play there 1 year, play there 2 years. I wouldn't resign with Golden State if I were Giannis. I wouldn't. 2 years, yeah. That's about as much as I'd commit them. After that, you probably want to be somewhere with a young running mate, and I don't know how they're going to get that young running mate. In fact, I don't think they're going to get that young running mate. This is going to be him. And that, my friends, sucks. Straight up and down. They're going to give away all their picks and their future in this trade. And that's why I continue to think that the Golden State Warriors are being run poorly. And them making a trade for Giannis, giving up all their picks, knowing that they have a 38-year-old superstar, and Steph that could be leaving for nothing. Likely they're not going to be able to trade for anything. They're not going to want to either. That's a mistake. That's a mistake. You don't give away your entire future under those circumstances for a 31-year-old who has injury issues. That's a mistake. A lot of people are saying anything to get Steph his 5th championship ring. I still don't think they're better than OKC this year. Even if they make that deal, I don't think they're better than OKC. They might be in the Western Conference Finals, but I expect OKC to win the series. So it becomes a situation where you say, okay, if them two people can't stay healthy, now you're talking about what else do they have to carry them. Let's say Steph goes down with a rolled ankle and Giannis continues to have issues with the calf. Well, if they make this trade and give away all their young players, they're not going to have a whole lot to carry them to the finish line, and they're already more or less in the play-in tournament outside the play-in situation. So the season essentially gets kicked down the road because the rest of what it is they have is not going to be able to get them any further than where they're going to be at now if one of them goes down. So it's extremely risky. And I'm afraid he's going to be leaving one Milwaukee to go to a more sunny Milwaukee, because that's exactly what that's about to be. He should not go there. He should not go there. Mike Dunleavy and their ownership seems to be willing to put his career on the line to meet their goals. And I don't think he should welcome that at all, given where he's been over the last several years and what they've been doing, the mistakes they've been making. You go into another organization like Golden State that should probably be left alone, honestly. And so I know that's rich coming from a Laker fan. People say, oh, you hate the Golden State Warriors anyway. I do, but not as it pertains to what it is I'm assessing. I wouldn't mind seeing them get back on track, but I also know what it takes to get back on track. And they're digging themselves further into a hole, not necessarily getting themselves back on track with a trade like that. So that's my take on the Golden State Warriors with this Giannis thing. I think it's extremely risky. I think they're going to be unhappy once they do it if he can't stay healthy and drag Steph Curry to his next championship. If he resigns there, he's going to be the only guy there. They ain't going to have no picks in the future to bring him anything. And ultimately, they're going to have to trade him for a bunch of stuff. And I'm not sure he's going to be worth that if he continues to have injury issues at 32, 33, whatever years of age it's going to be. This is all bad. All of that is all bad. And Golden State needs to just give up on this damn timeline. That's what they need to do. Not necessarily trying to double down on it by giving away more of your future when both of your players are going to be over 31 years of age. Steph, 38. I mean, that's just not smart at all. So, yeah, because they're not willing to go forward with the proper timeline, their situation is ultimately going to be bleak. And if he goes there, it's going to be him trying to drag trash. I cannot stress that enough. He could do that in Milwaukee. Why leave home if you're going to do that? So I think he should eliminate Golden State from his list. I understand it's a sexy choice. I understand Milwaukee may like to do that deal with Golden State, but he's going to be the one left there with them having no future and three 30-something years old that they hope to carry them to the promised land in a young man's league. That's silly. It's super silly, and it's not going to work. And he's going to be the one that takes the blame for it if it don't work. So I still think that Toronto is a viable option because they have a good mixture of remaining young players and pieces they can send to Milwaukee that would allow for Milwaukee to feel whole and for them to still have plenty of a future in a post-Giannis era several years from now. You can do that deal potentially without throwing in Scotty Barnes. And if you do got to throw in Scotty Barnes, you could probably hold on to Colin Murray-Boyles, probably hold on to Jamal Shedd, probably hold on to Grady Dick. You see what I'm saying? Scotty would be the only one you have to throw in. You still got Brandon Ingram. And from what I understand, they're saying that they're not willing to throw in Scotty or B.I. if they were to make a trade like that. Well, if I'm Milwaukee, I'm still fine because Toronto has a bunch of picks and young players to send Milwaukee without any pick equity going out that should make Milwaukee feel good about their future. You see what I'm saying? You can get Quickly in there, you can get RJ in there, or send him to a third team. You could take back picks, you could take back Grady, you could take back Jamal Shedd, you could take back potentially Colin Murray-Boyles in that situation. There's plenty that Toronto has that would allow for both teams to still be in a good space past a trade for Giannis. That's the team that I think should get involved. Also, updated information. From what I understand, Portland doesn't have the direct picks for Milwaukee going forward. They have a few of Milwaukee's picks, but not this year or next year. It was a different team that has their picks. And I forgot who it was said has them. So that updates my information dramatically because I was saying Portland should be a viable place for Milwaukee to get their most immediate picks so they can tank over the next several years. If those picks, from what I understand, are not in Portland's hands, that changes my idea about them making that trade for Portland. So that's what I'm saying to you guys. I don't remember who they said that team was, but it was somebody I wasn't thinking about. I was like, oh, so they have them. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember. It wasn't New Orleans. It might have been Atlanta, maybe? Or maybe it was Golden State that had those picks. I don't remember who it was, though. But whoever that person is, whoever that team is, that's a viable place. If it's Golden State, then I can see why Milwaukee wants to make that move. I just don't remember who it was. Might have been Golden State, though. Maybe Miami. I don't know. Miami's interesting if they can throw in some picks, too. But just looking at being able to make a trade for Giannis that allows for you to look at so many different packages and weigh them against one another, I think the best time to do this, in theory, is probably in the offseason when all of these teams have all of their assets from which are usable. Because right now, as I said, Golden State's the only team that has those assets that they can trade now. If you wait to the offseason, there's going to be 6 or 7 teams that are going to be able to compete with one another. You probably get more for him. But there's a lot that can happen between now and then, and you don't want to probably risk that if you're Milwaukee or if you're Giannis. So that's what gets in the way of that. But from a Milwaukee standpoint, I firmly believe if they wait to the offseason, there's likely going to be a stronger bidding war for Giannis. Assuming he's healthy, which he's not right now. It's another thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's still a Buck by the end of the trade deadline. Because if I'm looking at my Buck situation, if I'm in control of him, I want the best package. Not the best package right now, but the best package, period. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what they're going to have to look for. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name's BDO44. Thank you all for watching.